There's a body language test that tells you if someone's hot take is real or just for show. Most people think bold opinions signal confidence. They don't, not by themselves. Genuine conviction and performed edginess look almost identical until you push back. Watch what happens to someone's posture the moment you disagree with their hot take. And the truth becomes obvious fast. Let's start with the basics. What exactly is hot take dating? It's a growing trend, sharing bold, strong opinions early on, instead of playing it safe. Skipping small talk, jumping straight into, "Here's what I actually think about this." On paper, it sounds like a shortcut to real connection. But here's the catch. Not every hot take is actually genuine. Some people share strong opinions because they truly believe them. Others share strong opinions because strong opinions get attention. Those two things can look identical on the surface. The words might be exactly the same. The delivery might sound equally confident. So how do you actually tell them apart? The answer isn't in what they say, it's in what happens right after they say it. Genuine conviction doesn't need an audience reaction to feel complete. Sentence 19, someone who truly believes their opinion states it and moves on comfortably. Sentence 20, performed confidence behaves differently. Sentence 21, it often glances for a reaction immediately after delivering the line. Sentence 22, a quick check of your face, your expression, almost like scanning for approval. Sentence 23, this happens fast, often within half a second, easy to miss if you're not looking for it. Sentence 24, psychologists sometimes call this approval-seeking behavior, checking for validation right after self-expression. Sentence 25, it's not necessarily dishonest, but it does reveal something. Sentence 26, it shows the opinion was, at least partly, about the reaction it might get. Sentence 27, a genuinely held opinion doesn't usually need that check. Sentence 28, it exists whether or not anyone approves of it. Sentence 29, so the first clue in hot take dating isn't the opinion itself. Sentence 30, it's whether the person seems to need your reaction to feel settled about it. Sentence 31, that single detail already tells you more than the actual content of the opinion. Sentence 32, but it's still just the first layer of this. Sentence 33, this pattern shows up far beyond dating too, in interviews, debates, even casual arguments with friends. Sentence 34, anywhere someone states an opinion publicly, this same underlying mechanism is quietly at work. Sentence 35, once you learn to spot it in dating, you'll start noticing it everywhere else too. Sentence 36, it becomes a genuinely useful lens for reading people in general. Not just on a first date. Picture this, a first date, and one person leans in and says something bold. I honestly think most modern dating apps are ruining how people connect. It lands with confidence, a steady voice, direct eye contact. The other person nods, considers it, then gently pushes back. I don't know, I've actually met some great people through apps. Watch closely what happens next, because this is where the real signal shows up. In one version of this date, the first person relaxes slightly, genuinely curious. Really? Tell me about that, I'm curious what worked for you. Their posture stays open, their tone stays warm, even though they were just disagreed with. In another version of this exact same date, something different happens. The first person's shoulders tighten slightly. Their voice gets a touch faster, a touch louder. Well, sure, but statistically, most people have way worse experiences than that. They don't ask a follow-up question, they just reinforce their original point, harder. Same words being disagreed with, completely different physical reaction. The first version shows someone comfortable enough in their opinion to stay curious about yours. The second version shows someone whose opinion needs to win, not just exist. This is the heart of reading hot take dating correctly. It's not about whether someone has strong opinions. Almost everyone does, that's not unusual or concerning on its own. It's about how their body responds the moment those opinions meet resistance. Comfortable conviction stays open under disagreement. Insecure conviction tends to escalate under disagreement. And escalation, more volume, more intensity, more repetition, usually reveals more insecurity than confidence. It might sound backwards, but psychologically, it checks out. People who feel truly secure rarely need to raise their voice to prove a point. The need to escalate is often, itself, the tell. This kind of scenario plays out constantly, in coffee shops, on video calls, at dinner tables, everywhere. Most people never consciously notice the difference between these two reactions. They just walk away with a vague feeling, that went well, or that felt a little off. This video is about turning that vague feeling into something you can actually name. Once you can name it, you can trust your own read on people much more. Which brings us to the clearest version of this entire signal. Here's the hot take dating test that reveals the truth almost every single time: direct disagreement. Not gentle pushback, actual, calm disagreement with their opinion. This is the moment performed confidence struggles the most to maintain itself. Genuine conviction has nothing to prove, so disagreement doesn't threaten it at all. The body stays loose, the tone stays warm, curiosity often increases instead of decreasing. Performed confidence, on the other hand, was never really about the opinion in the first place. It was about appearing bold, appearing interesting, appearing confident. Disagreement threatens that image directly, and the body usually reacts to protect it. Watch for crossed arms appearing suddenly, a shift away, a tightening jaw. Watch for the volume increasing, or the argument repeating itself, just louder, not deeper. None of these reactions are really about the topic being discussed anymore. They're about defending a self-image that disagreement just put pressure on. This is incredibly hard to fake in the moment, because it happens involuntarily. You can rehearse a hot take in advance. You genuinely cannot rehearse your nervous system's real-time reaction to being challenged on it. There's actually a simple reason this happens on a biological level too. Genuine belief is stored calmly. It doesn't require active defense to remain true. A performed opinion is more fragile because it was built for effect, not for conviction. Fragile things react more strongly when pressure is applied to them. Sturdy things barely notice the same amount of pressure at all. That's what makes this the single most reliable moment in the entire hot take dating trend. Not the opinion someone shares first, but how they hold up, physically, when that opinion is met with a different one. Confidence that was always real barely notices the disagreement. Confidence that was performance suddenly has a lot more to defend. This doesn't mean every disagreement should be a test you're deliberately running. But naturally, disagreements happen in every real conversation eventually. When they do, pay attention to what the body does, not just what the mouth says next. That reaction tells you more about someone's actual character than almost anything else on a first date. It's subtle, but once you notice it, it becomes remarkably easy to spot. Now, an important caveat before you start pushing back on every opinion just to test someone. Constant disagreement as a strategy comes across as combative, not curious. That defeats the entire purpose of a genuine conversation. Also, some people get defensive simply because they've had bad experiences being dismissed before. Past experience can shape this reaction just as much as insecurity about the specific opinion. Someone having a rough day can also react more defensively than usual, unrelated to the opinion itself. Give people some grace, especially early on, before assuming a permanent pattern. Context matters just as much as the reaction itself. The key is pattern. Does this happen with every disagreement, or just once, under unusual circumstances? So how do you actually use this in real life? You don't need to manufacture disagreement. It happens naturally in most real conversations. When it does, simply notice, not judge, what happens to their posture and tone. Curiosity and openness are good signs. Escalation and defensiveness are worth paying attention to, not panicking about. Let's quickly recap what we covered today. Hot take dating means sharing bold opinions early, but not every bold opinion is equally genuine. The first clue is whether someone checks your reaction right after sharing their opinion. The clearest signal of all is how they respond when that opinion is calmly disagreed with. Genuine conviction stays open, curious, even under disagreement. Performed confidence tends to escalate, defend, or repeat itself louder instead. Context still matters. One moment means little, a consistent pattern means much more. None of this means avoiding people with strong opinions. Strong opinions aren't the problem. It simply means paying attention to what happens underneath them when they're actually tested. Strong opinions aren't the real signal. How someone holds them under pressure is. Now you know exactly what to watch for the next time someone shares a hot take. If this helped you read people a little more clearly, hit subscribe for more videos like this one. We break down psychology, body language, and human behavior every single week. The next time someone shares a bold opinion, gently disagree and just watch what happens. See you in the next one.